The following program is underwritten by the Nevada Irrigation District. Since 1921, providing clean and healthy drinking and irrigation water to more than 24,000 homes, farms, schools, and businesses in Nevada and Placer counties.
Hi, I'm Lew Sitzer and welcome to NCTV Interviews. Today we have Ed Scofield, who is CEO of the Nevada County Fairgrounds. Welcome, Ed. It's great to have you back again. I'm interested in some of the results of the recent Nevada County Fair, and we'll also talk about the Draft Horse Classic coming along.
Well, the fair was another exceptional fair. We think it's one of the most finest fairs in the state of California, if not in the western United States. Our numbers were actually down a bit this year, Lou, but of course financially is what we tend to look at as far as our success goes. And with our major accounts, the admission, the carnival, parking, the arena, the grandstands, the concessions, we were just off about $5,000, and we're talking, you know, $800,000 as far as the gross numbers go. So we're pleased.
Great, and a lot of happy people,
a lot of happy people. We've had such great responses on it. The weather was wonderful, and you know, it is the Nevada County Fair, and it's truly a community fair.
The smoke cleared?
The smoke cleared, and like I say, the heat went away, and it was my swan song, Lou, and it was a special fair.
What number fair was it for you?
Number 26.
And how long has the fair been operating overall?
Well, you know, next year's theme is a 62 carat affair.
Okay.
So it's been 62 years since it started. It will be since 1947 is when it started again at that location after the war.
Mm-hmm. So it probably operated even before the war.
The fair was formed in 1937, and there were a number of fairs at the Veterans Memorial Building. And then during World War II, all the money went to the war effort, and it didn't start up again until 1947.
Right. And so 26 years at the fair, and you'll be retiring at the end of the year.
At the end of the year, yes. Kind of counting the days now.
And also, you've got some events coming before the end of the year, the first one being the Draft Horse Classic.
Well, you know, something's going on out at the fairgrounds all the time, and as we speak, the AKC Dog Show is set up, and then the Roman Angel Car Show. And then our next big event that we do, we produce 3 major events. The next one we produce is the Draft Horse Classic and Harvest Fair. Mm-hmm. And that's September 18th through the 21st.
And this also has been running a long time, the Draft Horse Classic.
Well, this is the 22nd annual. So our other 2 major events, the Classic and the Country Christmas Fair, is something that's been created during my realm as a CEO.
That's right. You know, this is the 22nd year, so you were in on the beginning. And I was wondering if the Draft Horse Classic is something that counties do, states do, or is this something particular to Nevada County?
This is a pretty unique show. There are fairs that try to do a bit with draft horses and demonstrations, that type of thing. But we call ourselves the premier draft horse show in the western United States, and we truly feel that way. We bring in about 30,000 people for the 4 days, and it's pretty impressive. Most horse shows, even draft horse shows, will bring in a small crowd. We kind of focus on what is best for the audience. We try to keep them entertained as much as possible and bringing them back year after year.
Now I noticed it's a 3-day event, or maybe even a 4-day event.
It's 4 days.
4
now,
days.
Mm-hmm.
And so how would you explain sort of what prompted you to do the Draft Horse Classic in the beginning, and then how this 4 days unfolds?
Well, it started, actually the first major event that was produced under my term was the Country Christmas Fair. And we used to bring up a hitch, and when I say a hitch, that's a team of horses with a wagon or a carriage. And we had Jack Parnell, and Jack would bring up his team of horses for the Country Christmas Fair and give rides. And he and I were out riding during the Christmas Fair, and he said to me, you know, Ed, I've always wanted to do a draft horse show, and I've always wanted to do it at the California State Fair. But why would I want to do it there when I've got California's most beautiful fairgrounds right here? And Jack was the Secretary of Food and Agriculture at that time.
Really?
So I listened to Jack very closely because he's ultimately my big boss. And we went into a 3-day show from there. One of the things that we found was the shows were running way too long, and the audiences were not willing to stay through a 4.5 hour show. So we added the 4th day, cut down on the size of the show, and it's worked pretty well.
So how would you explain those 4 days to viewers who have never attended a classic?
Well, the Classic is a series of performances in our grandstand arena. Each performance, there's, let's see, there's 6 performances all together. There's one Thursday night, one Friday night, Saturday morning, Saturday evening, Saturday night, and Sunday morning and Sunday afternoon. The evening shows are really the showcase shows, and they are different competitions involving the hitches. Again, a team of horses and a carriage, a wagon, whatever it might be. But each show is different, a different type of competition involving these teams. Some of them are rail classes where the horses basically run the rails the whole time. Others are what they call working classes, where there's an obstacle course, an opportunity to back up, a gambler's choice type of thing. So while you may think that each event is the same, it's not. There's a different competition. It might be different drivers. It might be a youth competition where the kids coming in are really pee-wee kids that are starting with the adult sitting next to them. It might be a ladies' carriage class or a men's class, or it might even be the big flashy classes where you've got 6 horses hitched together, and it's just magnificent when you can feel the thunder of their hooves and just the magnificence of those animals.
Well, let's take a look. You brought some video with you. So let's take a look at some of what the Draft Horse Classic and Harvest Fair offers.
Now these are Friesians, and we have acts in between the actual draft horse shows. Here we have, what do I want to say? These are the draft horse competitions here.
And these are the hitches that you talked about?
Yes, now this would be more of a farm class out here. This is the log skidding competition that's going on here. This is an act, another Friesian. These are Friesians. These are beautiful, beautiful horses.
And these horses come from all over?
These horses come from all over, yes. They're coming so fast. These are the ladies' classes. We have horses that the teams come in from Idaho. We've got a hitch coming in from Missouri this year. I understand that we have a hitch coming in from Wyoming. We've got them coming in from Oregon, and then of course we've got our own California hitches here too. You can just feel it.
And so the preparation, how early do the horses and drivers arrive?
Well, usually they'll come in the week of the Classic. On Wednesday night, most of the exhibitors are in. We do a big dinner for all the exhibitors. It's kind of a thank you to them. They're truly the ones that make this show such a success. And then, of course, they stay through Sunday, and many of them, especially if they come from out of state, go down to the Los Angeles County Fair in Pomona. So they're able to put together 2 events in a row, and sometimes they can try to figure out how to get even more in. As you can imagine, though, it's pretty costly to own a hitch like these.
I was thinking of just transporting the horses and the hitch all over. I mean, that's got to be very costly.
And it's a major concern to us when we talk about where they come from. And when they're hauling in from those long destinations, and now with the cost of fuel. And they, trust me, they do get premiums here when they win, but they never, I don't think any of them go away making money. It's a hobby to almost all of them.
Right, there is prize money available for some of the competitions?
All of the competitions have some type of a premium that is paid. Some of them, the bigger the hitch, aren't they beautiful? Yeah. The bigger the hitch, the more the premium we pay. Again, if you've got 10, 12 horses coming into your team, you've got a lot of expenses there. These are the California Cowgirls. It's another special act that we have.
You definitely have some acrobatics.
What you need to do is when the competitions are going on, they'll finish one class, then they've got to get back to the barns, and then they've got to reset up for the next class coming in. So in the meantime, we've got to give them time to do that. So we bring in these special acts to entertain the audiences and to keep the show going.
And generally, how long are the shows now that you've developed 6 of them?
Well, we like to keep the show 3 to 3.5 hours at the very most. And we've kind of switched things around a little bit. It used to be the finale would come at the very end. And we do try to have one of the more spectacular classes at the end. But sometimes we'll start off a show with the #1 class being the #1 act, so that if people aren't able to sit through the entire show, they've at least seen some of the very special classes that we do have.
And so we're looking at more than the Draft Horse Classic now. We're looking at some of the Harvest Fair exhibits, some of the entertainment.
Well, there is a cost to come in and see each show. Right now, there are 2 types of seating, reserved and general admission. The reserve is $21 a seat, and the general admission is $18 a seat. The Harvest Fair, though, that goes on throughout the fairgrounds itself, is free of charge. And it's a little bit of everything. We'll see that we have shots of the Western Art Show, which is just a beautiful art show. We've got stage entertainment, musical, cowboy poet, those types of things. Logger shows, clogging, early day engines. We've got competitions similar to what goes on at the fair, not the size of the fair, but definitely, especially the produce and those types of competitions, floral.
Well, that's right. It is harvest season now.
It is the Harvest Fair also.
In
yes.
many ways. And so could you talk a little bit about the Harvest Fair, since I'm not really informed about it?
Well, again, that's the entertainment that's going on all the time, and it's free. People can come out and go to the Harvest Fair and see those types of entertainment venues. They can also walk amongst the barns and see the animals close up. There are some restrictions there. An hour before the shows begin, we have to close the barns down.
Sure.
Although we do have one special tent area where the public can stay in there when they're hitching up the horses. At that time, because it can be unsafe, that the horses, they're gentle giants, but they are giants. So we have to kind of keep the public away. But the rest of the time, they're able to be in the barns, they're able to see the Harvest Fair activities. Treat Street is open, plus we bring in some additional food. Lots to eat out there. And normally it's a very beautiful time of the year out there.
Right.
It's a very, very special event.
Yeah, and by mid-September, the weather will have cooled some. So do you have, I know at the fair you have competitions for vegetables and fruits and canning and, all sorts of quilts. Is there anything like that?
Well, we do, especially the produce, and we do some art-type competitions, floral culture competitions. It's not nearly the size of the fair. We have one building, in fact, it's our lath house that people are, and the floriculture building, if folks are familiar with the fair, where all those competitions are. Our the Northern Mines building, which is the three-wing building, we have exhibits and displays in there. One of them that's kind of special is the photography, the history museum of Ron Sturgill and his group. And they take one entire wing, and I understand they're focusing on the old schools of Nevada County with these. In fact, he was in today with an old school bell that he had gotten from the Washington School. So it's an opportunity, if you are a native here, to really look and see at some of the older schools.
Right, yeah. Well, that's great. I was wondering about the tickets, because do you buy a ticket for a single event, or can you buy a ticket for all the events? How does that work?
Well, most of the tickets are sold in advance, Lou. And you can buy a season ticket. You buy a ticket for every event. It's a little more difficult to do that now, because Saturday night in particular gets to the point where it's it's getting to the point of being sold out. We still have plenty of tickets left. But you can do either. You can buy that season pass, or you can buy a single pass. And I would recommend that you do it right now.
And is there a website?
You can go to the website that was up there, www.nevadacountyfair.com.
And you can do it online.
You actually have to call in. We're not quite at that point, Lou. We're working on that, but you have to call in and we'll take it from there.
All right, great. So there are not many more days between now and the Draft Horse Classic. I have a couple of questions. Like, people may not realize the amount of work that goes into just maintaining the fairgrounds and staffing it with events that are happening all the time besides the Draft Horse Classic. How many people do you employ generally, and what does your day look like?
Well, there are only 5 full-time people that we have out there that are there year-round, and that includes myself. And as we get closer to the fair season, we start to ramp up with numbers. We'll bring in seasonal, temporary people. Right now, we probably have maybe 20 people that are working out there. During the fair, we have as many as 250 people. And during the Draft Horse Show, which does not take as many people, we probably have 100 or so that are operating that show. As I say, the fair is busy all the time. We're kind of unique in the fair business, and then most fairs do one big fair a year. We do our big fair, and then it's like 5 or 6 weeks later we do a second fair that in many ways is even more complicated than the annual fair itself. It's quite a little job to coordinate all these activities in these 6 special events.
Right, and have everything work like clockwork.
Yes,
Yeah.
and then once the Draft Horse Show is over with, the numbers kind of drop again, and by the time we come into the Country Christmas Fair, which is primarily a craft show, we probably operate that entire show with maybe 25 or 30 people.
So you are occupied. Your day doesn't have much downtime. You're retiring, but we won't get into politics, but you also are running for the county supervisorial district.
Yes, I am, and I'm finding that that in itself is taking quite a lot of time too. But the person who's going to be taking my position is Sandy Woods, and she's really the hands-on person and has been for about 15 years. We also have a horse show manager named Sally Seamus. Sally lives in Palermo, and she coordinates all the acts and all the horse activities. And so Sandy and Sally spend much time together this time of the year putting this all together. She's the one you can't afford to lose. I'm dispensable. Sandy is not.
Well, you know, you've done well. The object is also to work yourself out of a job, so you can turn it over to good hands. You also brought some photographs, so we'll see some other views of the events that go on at the Draft Horse Classic and give you a better
This was done last year. That's a beautiful, beautiful shot there. It started to rain and it cooled off, and the horses, once they're through competing, they sweat, and that steam was just coming out. It was wonderful. This is the Budweiser hitch, which is so popular, and unfortunately we don't have them this year, and we're a little concerned about Budweiser. You know, they've just had a big sale, and the question is, are they going to keep the Budweiser hitch? We really hope so, because those animals have such an impact on the draft horse industry. We actually have some people coming up this year, Lew, from Disneyland to view our show to see if perhaps they might want to bring the Disneyland hitch up to the Nevada County, the Draft Horse Classic. So people do look at us. We're a special show.
Yeah. I'm surprised that there hasn't been anything filmed, really, of it. It looks really fantastic.
We do have a film too. This is one of our acts here that comes in. We were saying last year that probably as far as the equestrian acts go, it would be hard to find another venue that would have world-class entertainment that we have with some of these folks that are out there. You'll probably see Clay Myers with his Shires. They are so special. And he's been coming to the fair. He actually, this gentleman here does Roman riding. Roman riding is a hitch without the wagon, so he's riding on the back of the horses. And this year he's going to be riding, I don't know if we've got another shot of it, but he's going to be riding 8 horses hitched together, and he's on the rear too, on the back ends of those horses. Again, it's just the quality of the entertainment. They're big horse production out of Las Vegas, Nevada. Clay Myers with his Shire is now coming out of Kentucky, and he is so loyal to the classic. He continues to come back every year with his horses. Yeah.
Yeah, I was interested in what your budget for the classic is, because it sounds like you really have to raise a considerable amount of money.
Well, you do, and I might just point out with that rig there, Lew, you can see it's not all flash. These are the farm hitches. We bring in the farm implements, which is very interesting. Those are done on Sunday morning, and some of them you just can't imagine what they used to do or how they used to make them operate, but they actually do bring them out and they operate them. We have what's called an Americana class, which is just old-time America, when the horses were your source of transportation.
This looks pretty old-time.
This would be this might be a...
it looks like a manure spreader.
It could be. It very well could be, yeah.
I used to use one of those, not by horses, but by a tractor.
Well, we've got everything from these to the Hearst. We'll have the old fire wagons that's pulled. I think the video had a shot of that. Budget-wise, we're looking at, this is about a $400,000 to $450,000 project for the fair. We'd like to make money on it, and we hope that we do every year. We usually make somewhere around $60,000 to $65,000. It's a fragile event. If we get rain, and unfortunately we do, oftentimes we have to cancel the shows, and that's really distressing for us. Actually, last year it rained on the Sunday, and it was incredible. The exhibitors, the teamsters decided that they would go ahead with it. Some of them elected not to. And they were sloshing around in the mud out there. It was incredible. Even the Budweiser hitch came in with their big 8-up hitch, and the mud flew everywhere, but they were just wonderful.
This looks like you're bucking up wood here.
This is the loggers competition, and we do this on Sunday afternoon. Dennis Harvey, and Dennis is just a local gentleman that's been doing these for years. He's a world-class competitor with the hot saw.
Yeah, souped-up saws.
Souped-up saws, and you get the opportunity to see them. I think this gentleman might be throwing the axe on this particular one.
Oh, yeah, it does look like that.
And you can see the crowd around him, and it's one of the highlights of. And again, this part of it is a free opportunity for folks to come in and watch this. They'll also have the pole climbing as part of this competition, too. These are the horses lined up at the end of one of their classes, and then from here the judge will determine who the winners are, and it's always kind of special. Budweiser has been a part of it for many years, so when the announcer is announces the blue ribbon. That hitch goes over to the far end of the arena. Everybody else gets their awards. Everybody else leaves. And then he gets to make, she gets to make their victory lap with their horses. And as Budweiser has been such a part of it for so many years, the victory lap is bum 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 ba da 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 da, and the crowd claps, and I get emotional. This is Nolan Darnell, and Nolan's a local gentleman. He's out of Orland. He brings in the flags for us. This is one of our specialty acts. These are the Shires.
Covered wagon.
Covered wagons. This is probably the Americana, and you can see that little lake out there. This was Sunday afternoon.
And you still have a crowd.
But look at the crowd,
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is log skinning again, yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think there are people, Dave Verdon still does a log skinning operation here.
Well, and Dave does it, he does it professionally.
Right.
That's what he does. It got so wet that during the performance Sunday, we also do a pull, the draft horse pull. And they're pulling grain bales anyway. They just keep adding more and more weight on. And it got so wet that it became so slick that they actually put the forklift in back of the bales, and the draft horses were actually pulling it. Once they got the sliding, it was pretty easy.
Well, we'll hope for, actually a little rain might be good. We're all so parched this time of year.
You know, the rain is wonderful as long as we don't get so much that it starts to make it unsafe. Right. If it's unsafe in the arena, then the exhibitors won't bring out the animals, and we don't expect them to.
Right. Well, we're going to hope for good weather. And Ed, I want to thank you very much for being here and letting us all know what's going to be going on September 18th through 21st. Be sure to contact the fairgrounds. And I also want to thank our volunteer crew, Marilyn Blom and Cassandra Wallstrom and Gail Woodman and Casey, a student intern, as well as Michael Lamarca, our new executive director, and Bill Carquest, our engineer. So please continue to watch NCTV. If you have ideas about what kind of show you'd like to see, well, come on by. Thanks again.
Mm-hmm.